idea within that era. Later on, they are more into the, it needs to have belly, and with the French they want it flat, keep the flat look until today. But they simply want it flat, not flat and almost swelled up, but not quite, just almost restrained as if there were strings pulling it constantly. The buttonholes are crudely assembled also. Observe. This buttonhole might have been done by hand, but the back of it is very crudely done, very basically done. The lining might have been rather, I think it read better for time, but this greyish and black stuff lining is very typical of the 1860s and 70s. With about the 80s and 90s to the 1900s, it slowly becomes like this, more whitish in appearance, because probably, I don't know, just a sad thing. Don't want to give my feeling because maybe it's totally wrong. So we have repaired this coat in many places, but since I wore it, many of the stitches have gone through. Also, it has the tails in the pocket with some rather strong cotton twill that's fading off. One may actually see through that slit just through the time I had purchased it, and it was like so. The internal construction, which one may see has this thick, bluish, hardy, and all of a sudden proudly starched linen canvas, simply to give us some body to the chest. And there's no horsehair, there's nothing. I'm feeling it while I'm putting my hand into it for the first time actually. There's no... So they just placed it there and just have it hold by a few stitches probably on top. And it goes all the way through, past the buttonholes, all the way through there. So there then to double the wool, right, to stitch an old piece of wool. But so there's hardly any structure, and yet it has structure for this cloth. It's so hardy, it's like a cotton twill. It really is bulletproof. It really is. I mean, this is the sort of thing that car keepers would have worn, you know, back in the old west and things. Because the perfect mixture of the wool and the cotton, because 100% cotton would be more prone to wrinkling. And perchance even 100% wool, but this sort of mixture also keeps away the fuzz and attracts hairs and dust less. Very practical for people when the countryside and everything in those days. And it is very wrinkle free. It's very hard to wrinkle that thing. I highly advise it, if anybody owns such a coat, to wash it as little as possible, wash it by hand only with shampoo and cold water, and really try the best to never iron them. It only damages them, and all this is really wrinkle resistant. Even by being most careful, I did burn the collar when I ironed that one. So there's for the analysis of that frock-coat, analyze how I came to the conclusion that it belonged to this 5-year period, that was when it was made, and for which class, and for which country. About the Transylvanian shirt that I analyzed in a playlist, and I put it on Instagram, I came to that conclusion that I was right. And because there's one on Etsy for sale that is exactly the same, but stitched by hand and dated to 1930 to 1940, I think it is more 20 to 30, Transylvanian shirt. So also the cloth is actually linen, entirely sewn by hand, but the pattern, the collar, everything is exactly spot. I think it's still for sale. I don't know bizarre it. And it is Transylvanian, which also is in Romania, and back in Romania was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. In other words, part of the country of Hungary, and the empire also had Austria, henceforth the Austro-Hungarian Empire. That's for the reason for which Jonathan Harkin Dracula goes to Hungary, not. He never says I go to Romania. He then says I enter the Romanian region, because back then Transylvania was part of Hungary. So This coat is massively rare. Also, I desire to I don't know what I desire to talk about. What else to talk about? Yes, so when I was making the playlist, no. So I have these other books. I send out books which are too large, which are much more period accurate. You can't wear books like that because the simple books often look exactly like that. And apart from the zipper, it's much more period accurate than the Stacey Adams. One has got the hill, and one has got the arch carved in, which looks very feminine by today's standards, which were removed by the pointed tail. And also the leather and the construction is way more in par compared to the Stacey Adams, to what they have then, especially the construction. See, it is a good deal welted, full on relatively high quality leather outsole. That then, and this was not done for khaki, in fact khaki for boots were actually the high without zippers, the real ones, much thicker sole, and pegged throughout. But the feather boots, even when good deal welted, usually had at least nails down the shank, makes it stronger, and down the heel, well, the heel would normally have been a leather, as in the top lift. The heel is stacked leather, but the top lift is a thick rubber. Eventually, when this wears off, I shall ask to replace it with the full leather heel. The leather is the only generally very seeable as inaccurate. It's still more accurate than the average, but the problem is it's still not dyed using the and tanned using the same processes. Is it more accurate or closer to what was being done than the Stacey Adams boots? By 100 years. The construction is more or less, so they may have put some interlining and more, which have phobia or which have more plastic treated leather, which are inaccurate, but this is really the internal of the construction. This is really when one goes mega OCD like I do. In the other manner, I was able to get something second-hand that fitted mine, and which was the closest possible to the historical 1800s and 1990s. So, the quality is much higher with these and are less warm to wear because the leather breathes. Obviously, the zipper is a problem. Is this even still recording? I want to say something I was saying in the posted in August 2023. How to acquire accurate 1800 Victorian clothing when originals one fit. I said the absolutely most accurate, which had everything we made. But really, the people, even though they're the most accurate, would be better than that, but usually they are not. Even if they're theoretically to use historically 100% accurate, or even an accurate cloth, a cloth dating from the era, only cloth from the thread to the condensing to the actual wool, all dating to a specific year, 1975. Usually it is not accurate because these people are trying to, like Nicole Rudolph, do many trades at once, such as being a shoemaker, bootmaker, and clothing, costume maker, vast different eras. So unless you had a 200 IQ and slept 3 hours a night maximum, it is impossible to do it as well as somebody who only made coats in the 1870s and a very specific type of coats. So even if it is all historically doable back then, it would be a low standard, rather probably than a working class garment, because at least one goes too low, relatively got second hand things from the middle class or upper working or even upper middle or even elite classes. That's fourth. To think, but because I got the luxurious cloth, she will make it, and thus it will be more accurate, because it will be made to my measurements. Yes, but she does not have the experience. She will not be able to make it as well.